mentions left and right, and you're thrilled at every sight. And the angels all are smiling, saying, how do you do? Oh, it's a great, great morning. Your first day in heaven when you realize your worrying days are through. You were glad you were not idle, took time to read the Bible. It's a great morning for you. I had a dream and I confess I hated to awake. I dreamt I was an angel at the white pearly gates.
St. Peter said, well, hello there, how have you been?
I've got your mansion ready, so come on in.
And then he sprang for an angel to act as a guide.
He spread his wings a time or two and learned how to fly. Oh, it's a great, great morning, your first day in heaven as you stroll down the golden avenue. There are mansions left and right, and you're thrilled at every sight. And the angels all are smiling, saying, how do you do? Oh, it's a great, great morning, your first day in heaven when you realize your worrying days are through. You were glad you were not idle, took time to read that Bible. It's a great morning for you. Hey, Ralph, are you sure we're in heaven?
Oh, these lovely beings are in unity heaven.
Oh, you mean heaven on earth?
That's right.
Oh, it's a great, great morning, your first day at Unity as you stroll down the aisle to your chairs. There are ushers left and right, and you're thrilled at every sight. And the people all are smiling, saying, aloha, hey there. Oh, it's a great, great morning, your first day at Unity when you realize your worrying days are through. You were glad you were not idle, and now there's Reverend Lytle. It's a great morning, a great morning. What a happy day at Unity.
Aloha,
Aloha.
Hey, come on, my. We're so glad to see you here at Unity Church of Hawaii this morning. Please stand as you are able, and let's sing about being a friend of God. I am glad that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call. It is true that you are thinking of me, that you love me. It's amazing. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. You call me friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. You call me friend. I'm glad that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call. It is true that you are thinking of me, that you love me. It's amazing. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. You call me friend. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. You call me
Ah, yes, indeed. We are the friends of God. Wow. Hey, como mai. Welcome to Unity Church of Hawaii, where centered God, we elevate global consciousness through the realization of oneness. Unity is an all-inclusive, spiritual, educational, healing movement of practical Christianity. It is a movement that is founded and grounded in prayer. Our co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, discovered truth, and then they lived that truth as they knew it to be. They never said that this was anything new. Their revelations were nothing new. What they said was, this is how we discovered it. And then they lived it. They brought it into expression as them. And to this day, they continue to inspire us to do the same. Because, friends, when we discover truth and when we live it as we know it to be, that's when we experience the abundant life. For unity is indeed a way of living. It is a way of life. And one of the great ways that us Unitics like to continue to gather a greater understanding of truth and is by the use of affirmations. An affirmation is a statement of truth. So I think we should together try one on for size today. Okay, here we go. If you'd be so kind with zelocity to speak after me. I am divine. I am a radiating center of the divine nature. I let go. I let God be God in, through, and as me. Take a breath into that. And one of the ways that God is, through and as us, is to be the expression of love. Love is our pure essence of being. It is what we are, being expressed so wonderfully and beautifully by who we are. So I'd like to invite you now to stand as you are able, and please greet those around you with the love that is you and the love that is them.
I saw the Kleenex box.
Go ahead.
Please remain standing as you are able, and let's sing about when all God's children get together. When all God's children get together, what a time, what a time, what a time. Gonna sit down by the banks of the river. What a time that will be. When all God's children sing together. What a time, what a time, what a time, what a time, what a time. All the angels in the heavens gonna join right along. What a time that will be. Here we go. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock of my soul. One more time. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock of my soul. When all God's children stand together. What a time, what a time, what a time, what a time, what a time. All the hearts in the world gonna join up as one. What a time, what a time.
Welcome. Good morning. Aloha. It is so good to see all of you today. I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, the senior minister here. And if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I would love the opportunity to meet right at the end of service. Sometimes there's people who come up to greet me, and if this is your first time here or first time in a long time, the ushers would be glad to bring you up to the front of the line. And we also have gifts for you. One of them is a kukui nut lei, and the kukui nut lei, because the oil in the kukui nut was used like kerosene, and it would give light. It represents the fact that you are the light of the world. And not only that, but it also represents that when you go over for the marvelous breakfast this morning, that you get to be first in line. So everyone who sees the brown kukui nut lei, escort that person up to the front of the line and join them for breakfast. And it is such a joy to have you here. Now, you may wonder what the words first time in a long time means. That means first time since I've been here. Okay? So it is an honor to have you here. And we would like to bring you these gifts. We have a packet with the free breakfast pass in it and the kukui nut lei. And so if this is your first time or first time long time, would you please honor us by standing? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay, and we have some right here, too. There we go. Thank you. They hesitated because they've been longtime members here, but it's their first time here since I've been here. So it is so good to have all of you here. And if you don't mind remaining standing, we're going to give you a blessing, okay? So let's get that wonderful unity energy going, all right? And as we extend our hands to these wonderful beings of light, repeat after me. We bless you. We love you. Because we recognize who you really are. You are the love and light of God. You are amazing. You are fabulous. And we're honored that you're here. We're here to support you. We're here to love you. And we're here to celebrate you. Welcome to Unity. Let's give them some love. Thank you. All right, thank you for joining us. And this week I was talking with some of my friends at the temple, the Krishna temple. They were asking me, how many people attend your church, And then I started talking about the people online who watch us. And they're like, what? How do we do that, We have an amazing audience that watches us. Audience is the wrong word. I apologize. That comes from my speech media background. We have an amazing ohana, a family, a virtual congregation that watches us every Sunday or who watches us in the week, watches us when they can. Some people, I don't know, I hear that like there's NCAA playoffs going on or something. Some of them are going to watch us in between games. But we are so grateful for your presence here. Let's give them a shaka right back here. Give you a warm blessing of aloha. We thank you for being with us. We love you. We bless you. And we know right where you are, all of God is. All of God is present. There's no distance between you and us because we're all one in the Spirit. And so we surround you in blessings of love and light. Let's give them some love this morning. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. A lot of things going on here at Unity Church of Hawaii, so please keep your bulletin handy. Today, the Walking Club will be meeting in the garden at 12:45 to go mosey around the neighborhood. Well, I would go mosey around the neighborhood. If you'd like to go and walk with them, make some new friends, get some activity, please join them. 12:45 right in the garden. At 1 p.m., right here in the chapel, Dr. Catherine Burton, licensed Unity teacher, is having highlights of the life and teachings of Jesus. It is an SEE class that she taught. She's gathering up with some of the folks in the class, but everybody's welcome to come and get the highlights of that class. It's an extraordinary class, and you will probably, if you come, you will enrich your Easter service with these teachings. On Monday, the 19th, from 6 to 7, it is visioning, the spiritual practice of opening up to God as you. And I think that the facilitator of this is in the house, Cindy Hensley. Yay, Cindy! I tell you, this visioning stuff works. I visioned 2 motorcycles and a car. And I got the 2 motorcycles in the car. So visioning works. I make pictures, I see them, I look at them, I know they're real, and they end up being exactly that. So visioning, come be with Cindy. She's awesome. That is 6 to 7. Is it still on the phone? Call in. All the details are in your bulletin. So, again, keep your bulletin handy. This Wednesday, the 21st, from 5:30 to 7, is the IHS meal service down at the IHS, which is right across from the Ross's store down on Evie. It's on 350 Summer Street, but it's right across from the new Ross's store. There is no preparing done. You just serve meals to some folks that are really folks that have earned the right to have that hot meal. So it's a great way to be of service, and that's Wednesday at 5:30 to 7 down at IHS. Oh, yes, and speaking of sacred service, being a volunteer is extraordinary. The volunteers are the wind that is in this ministry's sails. And we are looking for Sunday camera operators. There is no, you don't need any experience. Sean will train you. It's extraordinarily easy. And, folks, it's a blast. I have done it, and it is so much fun. So please see Sean, or actually see Jade Guest or Francine Cayono. But we're also looking for a Saturday groundskeeping crew. If you want to come on Saturday mornings and keep the grounds looking really nice, they'd like to have you help with that. The office is looking for some help as well if you'd like to give that assistance. Sunday school teachers, too. That was the first thing I did as a volunteer here at Unity Church of Hawaii. I was a Sunday school teacher to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. I kind of fit right in. And we're also looking for folks that are handy with facilities, handy with repairs, if you would like to do that as well. Again, please contact our volunteer coordinators, Jade Guest and Francine Cayono at unityhawaiivolunteer@gmail.com. And I think that is it for announcements. Please keep your bulletin handy because it is your roadmap to all things Unity Church of Hawaii.
As we prepare for our time of pastoral prayer, I invite you to get comfortable in your seats. If you wish, close your eyes or relax your gaze. Take in and out a deep breath. Feel how good it is to breathe. How good it is to breathe in this warm aloha air. And we think of some of the meanings of that word aloha, that we share the same ha, the same breath, that we are all one. Whether we are watching online, whether we are somewhere around the world, or whether we are physically present right here, we know there is only oneness. There is only oneness all the time. We recognize that sometimes our world looks like division. It looks like argumentation and fighting. Yet we know the truth is that there is only oneness. There is only God. And so in this moment of realization, let us go into a moment of silence as we lift up all the intentions of our hearts, those for whom we're praying, and lift them up into the light of this oneness. Spirit, right now we know only oneness. We know oneness with our sister church in Nigeria. We know oneness with all the countries and peoples of the world. We know oneness, health, and wholeness with all of those who have physical challenges or other challenges going on in their lives. And we know in this service that this service is anointed. Anointed with your presence. Anointed with your oneness. That we are all ministered to right at the point of our need. And for this we give thanks. And we say together, and so it is. Amen.
Holy words, long preserved for our walk in this world, may resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of hope, give us strength, help us cope. In this world, where'er we roam, ancient words will guide us home. Ancient words ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Holy words of our faith, handed down to this age, came to us through sacrifice. Oh, heed the faithful words of Christ. Holy words, long preserved for our walk in this world, they resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart.
Today we're going to say together the traditional Lord's Prayer. And so I ask you to, let's pray these words together, connecting with the energy of this prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Amen.
Ancient words ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart.
Good morning. Today I'm sharing with you a message from our Lenten booklet, Keeping a True Lent. Today's message concerns overcoming. And the affirmation for today is, I claim my dominion in the Christ. the divine energy that indwells every human being. I express my innate perfection. Overcomers triumph when universal truth and worldly conditions collide. Familiar with that this week? They cross the divide between knowing about truth and mastering truth. Overcomers dwell in abundance when markets decline. They know wholeness in the face of a scary diagnosis. They extend love toward a disruptive neighbor. They exude peace in polarizing times. As overcomers trust in the goodness of the universe, good is revealed. Anything less is simply an opportunity for overcoming, a triumph waiting to happen. It's the prodigal son eating slop with pigs. It's Jesus on the cross. It's Thomas doubting the reality of Jesus' return until he was awakened to the truth of everlasting life. Declaring truth is but the threshold to overcoming. The moment we reclaim our identity, our divinity, and center ourselves in the energy of the Christ, we are ready to receive blessings we thought we had squandered. We are primed to experience the glory of resurrection and to know the truth of Christ in us. I claim my divinity as the Christ. Speak that with me. I claim my divinity as the Christ, the divine energy that indwells every being. Together. The divine energy that indwells every being. I express my innate perfection. I express my innate perfection. As you frame that idea of the Christ in you, take a deep breath with me. And be willing to step across that threshold of overcoming. Step across the threshold of recognition that the Christ is alive as you. This moment and every moment. You have the capacity to remember this truth, to choose living as this truth, to connect fully and completely with the divine energy that flows in every cell of your being. Breathe in deeply and feel the aliveness of that Christ in every cell, every thought, every moment of who you are is afire with the energy of Christ. Rest in that knowing for a moment. Alive with the breath of the Christ nature, we step forward boldly into the moments of life that come to us. And when we collide with conditions not always comfortable, we are overcomers, for the truth is alive in us. And so it is. Thank you, God.
I have never been the kind to let too many get behind the walls that I have built around my heart. And now I find myself afraid, feeling like I've been betrayed by one I have trusted from the start. But friends are only human, many times they're gonna fall. But when it hurts the most is when they need you most of all. To forgive is to reach out to your brother as one friend to another, no matter what the cost. To forgive is to leave the past behind you. To pray tomorrow finds you stronger for the journey, 'cause every day we're learning to forgive. It was another place or time I have failed a friend of mine, and there was no one else to take the blame. When he could have turned away, somehow he found the strength to stay. His love for me was stronger than the pain, and in light of all his mercy, it's much easier to see that even from the cross, the Lord was calling you and me. To forgive is to reach out to your brother as one friend to another, no matter what the cost. To forgive is to leave the past behind you. To pray tomorrow finds you stronger for the journey, 'cause every day we're learning to forgive. To forgive is to reach out to your brother as one friend to another, no matter what the cost. To forgive is to leave the past behind you. Pray tomorrow finds you stronger for the journey, 'cause every day we're learning to forgive. 'Cause every day we're learning to forgive.
Thank you, Guy. That was beautiful. Forgiveness is really an important skill to learn. So I'm just going to be open and vulnerable with you, because what the heck. Sometimes back in the past, I was wrestling with who I really am and what is going on in my life. And so I was going to therapy weekly and struggling with some past issues of my life, trying to find out who am I really. And the therapist I was working with said, Tim, one of the best gifts that anyone can ever have is to learn how to forgive. And that parents who do the best job of parenting are those who teach their children how to forgive. Because when one learns to forgive, one learns to let go of the past instead of reliving it, instead of being bound by it, and then they can determine their own life direction. Pretty good therapist, eh? Very metaphysical guy who started working with me when I was in the throes of fundamentalism, trying to figure out, why is this not working for me? And I was so grateful for his work with me and teaching me about a book written by Sidney and Suzanne Simon entitled Forgiveness. And what this book, Forgiveness, teaches is what it isn't and what it is. We have so many misconceptions about forgiveness. And some of these misconceptions are not just ignorant, they're abusive. Some of our misconceptions about forgiveness are not just ignorant, they're abusive. That is, to insist that you somehow forget the past is ridiculous. You're not going to forget the past unless you have amnesia or unless you have some sort of dementia. You're not going to forget the past. I am tired of spiritual communities telling people to forget the past. It's part of your life. It's part of who's made you who you are. I'm also tired of people being told to let other people off the hook. Just let it go. Just, okay, be in denial about it. Just push it down. As if you can just somehow automatically do that. Most of us have a little bit more of a healing process to go through than that. Most of us have to work through some of that because when we have experienced a perceived hurt, a perceived trauma in our lives, there is this emotional hanging on to it. Typically, now there are some people who claim that they hold on to nothing, that as soon as something happens to them, they immediately let it go. And I believe there are people like that. Most of us aren't. Most of us hang on to stuff for a little while. Most of us chew on it. There is a Swami here in town, a spiritual guru, and he has walked 4 times across Canada. You know how far it is to walk across Canada? He's walked the longest highway in the world. Okay? 4 times he's done that, and he's gone to other countries and walked, and he's called the Walking Monk. And actually, he's speaking tonight at the temple at 4:30, the Krishna temple. But he was talking about walking down the road, and someone, he's walking, right? And someone slows down beside him in a red convertible and shouts out from the red convertible, "Get out of town." Like just his presence was an offense. And, here's this holy guy, but all of a sudden he's thinking, what makes it so bad for me to be in town? And he's going through, this whole thing of what he would do if he saw that guy again, Like, come here. Do you ever do that? When someone says something or does something, do you begin to rehearse a real good retaliatory remark? Some of you are shaking your head no. God bless you. Some of us have this conditioning where we immediately start to think, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have said this. I should have straightened them out. Giving them some of it. Because some of us have that kind of tendency, and we think if someone's trying to take advantage of us, then we better straighten them out real fast. So Jesus is teaching us a different model, and I want to look at some concepts, first of all, from Luke chapter 6. If you don't want to be judged, don't judge. If you don't want to be condemned, don't condemn. If you want to be forgiven, forgive. And He goes on to explain in this passage later on that in the same measure you give, you will receive. It's a spiritual law. I mean, some people think that I use the words of Jesus because the words of Jesus are true, which I believe, but I believe he's saying these words because they're true. It's a spiritual law, and you can find this spiritual law in many of the world's spiritual traditions, that what you give out, you receive back. In Eastern tradition, it's called karma, and there was a song some time back about instant karma is going to get you. Some of us sometimes receive that experience of getting back exactly that which we don't like. I've noticed, and see if you've noticed this, that some of the things that irritate me the most about other people are things that irritate me about myself. They are a mirror to me. They're a mirror. And so the next time someone just really POs you, okay? The next time someone really upsets you, see if this is a mirror. See if this is a mirror of something about yourself that you've had a hard time with. That's a challenge, isn't it? So Jesus is teaching a principle here that in the same manner we give, whether it's judgment, condemnation, we receive that. So when Jesus teaches us to forgive, and in many passages he teaches us to forgive, such as in the Lord's Prayer. There was a time in my life where I had a hard time saying the Lord's Prayer. And I wondered, do people know what they're saying? When it says, forgive us our trespasses, how? As we forgive others, how they've trespassed against us. In the same manner that we forgive others. Wow. Sometimes I've wanted to call a timeout in church. Like, seriously? Are you people really praying that you're forgiven to the extent that you forgive others? But again, Jesus was teaching this spiritual principle. He wasn't trying to make life more complicated. And spiritual teachers, if they're true spiritual teachers, are not trying to make life more complicated. They're actually trying to help us to experience freedom. In Sanskrit, moksha. They're trying to help us to experience liberation. And so, if we want to experience freedom in life, we need to learn to let go and give freedom to some of that stuff we've been clinging on to. It's very difficult for us to experience freedom if we're holding bondage about our past, about what other people have done, about how other people have affected us. It's very difficult for us to be free and in bondage at the same time. And so this is what forgiveness really is learning to let go of the burden. Learning to let go of the burden that has held you down. You don't have the power to absolve somebody else. You don't have the power to let someone else off the hook. Each one of us is responsible for our own actions. What you do have the power to do is to let go of the baggage. By the way, some of you know I was very, very sick this week. I'm good now. I just have a little bit of a cough thing. And I'm a little bit deaf today, so while I'm up here singing, if I start singing a different song, just know. But my wife and I, one time, were traveling in Ireland. And so, some of you know my wife, right? I love my wife, and whenever we travel somewhere, she wants to make sure she has everything she needs or could ever possibly need. I mean, you just don't know how many shoes or how many of this and that you might need. So, we arrive in Dublin. It's raining, because it rains there a lot. And by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Some of us Irish Americans. And so I'm lugging like maybe 3 big bags. She maybe has 1 small bag, and I'm lugging 3 big bags through the narrow, rough streets of Dublin. It's raining. I'm thinking, really? Do we need all this baggage? We never need all that stuff. But a lot of us travel through life like that. We're pulling all this baggage with us. And we're explaining to people, justifying why we need all this baggage. I'm speaking of emotional baggage. Emotional baggage of holding a grudge. Emotional baggage of people not coming up to our standard, which is really a statement about ourselves, that we don't feel good about ourselves. So I want to look at another passage of Scripture. This comes from Luke chapter 23. Now, this is at the crucifixion. Jesus has been whipped, he's been beaten, he's been abused, he's been mistreated, he's been put on the cross. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And I did some research on that Greek word for forgiveness in the Greek New Testament. And that word to forgive literally means to release, to let go, to wash away. So it's not about something you're doing for somebody else. They don't have to request it. These people weren't saying, "Please forgive us." They didn't care. They were dividing up his clothes. They were casting lots, gambling for his clothing. They were making sport of it. This was another day at the office for these Roman soldiers who are used to the most excruciating form of torture and death. They had it down to a science. They could keep someone alive for 2 or 3 days or more on a cross to torture them. And so, like in the case of Jesus, the nails were probably through the wrist. The Greek word chiro, from which we get chiropractor, can include, up to through the wrist. And so they would have to pull themselves up, and pardon this graphic image, but have to pull themselves up to catch their breath and then go back down. They had this torture thing down to a science. So whatever you've gone through in your life, whatever kind of trauma or torture, whatever kind of way that you think others have done something wrong, Jesus represents the Christ of us. Jesus represents that Christ that is releasing it, that is not wanting to hold on to it. In fact, that's what the cross represents. Crossing out, letting go of the stuff that does not belong to us. If you're holding on to anything that inhibits that Christ nature, that Christ presence, it's time to let it go. And you're the one who has the key to that. You're the one who can let that go. So he says, they do not know what they are doing. The fact is, most people are doing the best that they know. The problem is, sometimes people are ignorant. Sometimes they don't know how they're hurting others. They may be doing the very best they know. You know, there were times as a kid that some adult abused me, but they were doing the best that they knew at that time. And it took me a long time to get to that. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could say to them, I love you, I forgive you, I know that you were doing the best that you could, and I know that I am worth love, and I know that I am worthwhile and worthy. It took me a while to work through that, because sometimes we get locked into this image that the way other people treat us is somehow true. They may say negative things about you, and you may actually believe it. But the truth is, you are God's stuff. The truth is, you are the Christ. The truth is, you are this presence of God in action. So Jesus knew the truth of that and said, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. That is, Jesus was like, I don't have room for the baggage. Let's say that together. I don't have room for the baggage. Let's say it again. I don't have room for the baggage. If you're carrying around all kinds of baggage about perceived misdeeds of the past or how others have mistreated you or whatever, it's your choice. But I don't have room for the baggage in my life. And the reason I don't have room for it is because I have a mission to live. And the baggage gets in the way of my mission. My personal mission is to assist in the personal transformation, the spiritual transformation of our world and of myself. So I don't have time to hang on to baggage. It's BS. If you're hanging on to the baggage, it means you're not fully committed to your mission. Spiritual communities, looking at the mission of this community. Personal transformation, co-creative relationships, sacred service. To experience, this spiritual awareness through the realization of oneness. Anything that does not fit that vision and mission should not happen in this spiritual community, period. Anything that does not further us on our vision and our mission, kick it out. And what is your personal vision and mission? Are you stuck carrying the baggage? Are you carrying your baggage around all over the place, wanting people to feel sorry for you? Or are you willing to go forward, living a powerful mission? You are the presence of God. You're no small stuff. Get out of it. Leave the baggage behind. You don't need it. Forgiveness is letting go of the baggage so that you can fully express the Christ self as you. Aloha.
Well, it's easy to love somebody who's always wearing a smile. But when somebody steps on your toes, you know it's hard to go that extra mile. But if we want to live a really happy life, we need a lot more peace and a lot less strife. We need to love everybody in the world. We need to love all the sisters and the brothers and learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet and let our light shine on when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. Love everybody in the world. You see, if I love my neighbor like I love myself, well, maybe just a bit of my neighbor's love will spill over onto someone else. 'Cause love is like peanut butter, I've always said. It ain't much good unless it's spreading on the bread. Spread love all over the world. We need to love all our sisters and our brothers and learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet and let our light shine out when we're walking down the street. Love everybody in the world. We gotta love everybody in the world. We know our losses and our brothers and learn how to talk to one another. Love everybody that we meet. Let our light shine out in the world. We need to love everybody. Love everybody. We need to love everybody in the world.
Thank you, Guy. Well, as we prepare for our morning offering, I want to honor all of those who continue to give and support this ministry. And if you've received something spiritually here that you want to share from the way in which you've been blessed. And I want to honor our online givers. Today I'm becoming one of you because I ran out of checks. And I noticed with you online givers that from the donations that we receive, you give about 1/3 of our donations. You are so faithful. And I want to thank you because you really show that you're part of this Ohana. You show that you're not just a spectator, that you're involved in this with us. And we honor that, and we appreciate that. And we honor each and every one of you who gives in those ways in which you can give. And so, as you take your offering into your hands or over your heart, repeat after me. I bless this offering in the consciousness of the light that I am. I give thanks. I am grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Something great is happening. Love is taking over. It won't let go of us now.
Something here is calling us forward, upward motion. We're drops in one ocean. Roll on. Will you rise up with me today?
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live your dream of the highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world. Stand together. One dream, one voice, one heart. Stand together. Live your dream of the highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Live the dream of the highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Everybody, let's stand together. Let's stand together now. Everybody, let's stand together.
Wow, I appreciate Zamar, Alethea, the band. Let's give them some love. Thank you. So as we extend our hands to this offering, we bless this offering in the consciousness, knowing it represents infinite substance, knowing that we are circulating the divine abundance and good in our lives. We are grateful and we give thanks and we say together, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you for coming. Don't forget the breakfast, and you folks who are new, be sure and get your breakfast. And if you see the brown kukui nut lay, welcome that person and let them in at the front of the line. And we have some prayer chaplains on duty. Would our prayer chaplains come up and that are on duty, come up here and stand? I so appreciate our prayer chaplains. They're available to pray with you after this service. And they will find some private area where you can pray together. They are trained to know the truth with you, to hold that in confidence. And we so appreciate our prayer chaplains holding the high watch for us throughout the week, and they're available to pray with you if you have a prayer need. Please feel free to seek them out. It's really a sign of strength to seek help. It's a sign of strength to want to get with someone and pray and give thanks or to know the truth together. It's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. So feel free to pick out one of these prayer chaplains. We're so appreciative of them. They'll remain up here with us as we stand together and join hands, and we will sing our peace song and then Aloha Oi.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. One fond embrace, until we meet again.